Hello and welcome to Contempt, episode 3 with special guest Anjovi. Today we're talking a little bit about music influences, and other kind of stuff like that, I guess. Stay tuned. So how's your day going?
Going pretty good. Nothing eventful, but yeah. How about yourself?
Oh, well, I did some work in the lab, and not the music lab, but like the photo lab.
Oh, nice.
So I've been working all day, 9 to 5, and it's not that I don't enjoy it, but I'm a little burnt out.
Yeah, doing the same thing, like even if it's like your hobby, I could totally... Yeah, I can relate to that.
I gotta set my gain again. There it is. So, I did not expect the accent. I've only ever heard you through the music.
Yeah, through the rapping. Yeah, man, I was... when I think of like what I would want to listen to when I hear rap, I don't think this voice. I have been kind of slipping back more towards it as of late. Like when I was younger, I kind of went like, definitely. It's always the reverse whenever like people who know me, they hear my music for the first time and they're like, whoa, that's you? Whoa. I'm like, yeah.
That's amazing. I would never have guessed.
Oh yeah, no, I'm like a stoic fucking guy in like real life. I'm like one of those like quiet stoic dudes, and yeah, so it's really funny when I think in terms of like kind of like the more juvenile kind of stuff I write.
You should just one day release a song just in that voice, your regular voice, and see if it throws anyone off.
I don't know who knows my stuff, so I don't know.
Well, you got G minor. He'd probably be like, what?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in like voice chat either, so yeah, he'd probably be pretty surprised too.
You would start off with your rap persona, doing the voice, the chill kind of, and then just in an instant, just break back into your normal voice.
Oh yeah. I'm a voice actor.
He'd be like, are you screwing with me?
Well, I remember it was like a small gig. I don't know, it wasn't really like clever or anything, but I was just like in some town doing some like construction job, and it was just like just this random dude, he just came up. I don't know, I wasn't in the mood for talking, so I just put on this weird fucking voice. I just like, hey man, how you doing? And he was just like, where are you from? I'm like, no, I'm just fucking. Anyways, this is kind of like.
Honestly, it's like hearing Gilbert Gottfried's real voice for the first time. You never forget it.
Oh yeah.
Which is a shame, because I'm really sad that got leaked, because he's always in that persona when he left the house, and then one of his close friends released like a voicemail from him, and it's just the weirdest thing hearing Gilbert Gottfried talk like you and me.
Yeah, no, it's funny that he probably could have just like totally like lied and said that wasn't his voice, and but I don't know, I guess it's hard to like put the lid back on stuff like that.
So welcome to the podcast. I really hope that crackle goes away and doesn't show up in my audio snippets. I have no idea what causes it, but I'm pretty sure it's something to do with sample rate and bit rate or whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea how any of that works. I don't know. I guess like when I enjoy music, for instance, I almost like the lo-fi, like crackly sound more, like when I listen to old blues records. Like there's always something really comforting about like that vinyl. It's like a little crackly storm or something in the background, which goes perfectly with like what they're doing.
My buddy's big into Bossa Nova right now, and he's got some really beat up records, and they really give that little scratchy pop and crackle every once in a while. It really is comforting.
Yeah, I guess it's like white noise on top of everything. I guess people just like listen to white noise to relax, right?
So now that we've got levels checked, here's the official introduction. Welcome to the podcast, Contempt. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm always afraid that I haven't pressed record yet. Welcome special guest Anjovi, who I've worked with a few times, who is basically my main producer for everything.
Oh yeah.
Good to have you on.
Oh yeah, it's fun to be on. Never done anything like this myself, so it's kind of interesting to see what'll come of it.
Hopefully it's a chill, relaxed experience and we don't start debating politics.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully. I currently have half a drink in my hand, so that might change.
Just gonna come out swinging.
But yeah, this contempt, I'm still kind of debating. No, I'm just kidding. Mostly it's centered around content creation from an independence perspective.
And like, the interesting thing, I think, like, I don't know, I've kind of like, I've seen clips of people doing stuff like, interviewing like, kind of like randos in like VR space and stuff like that. I forget what it's called, but it's like a kind of like a VR social hub. And yeah, it's oddly interesting just listening to just random folks, like they don't have to be like people you look up to, or it's just like slipping in their shoes or they're behind their eye sockets for a bit.
I've seen what you're talking about. The guy's name is Seymour. He interviews people in VR chat, and it's really interesting. It's crazy.
Yeah, and sometimes the mundane can be so damn interesting just because you haven't experienced it yourself.
Oh yeah. A great thing is that my scope is pretty wide with content in quotation marks, just content creation. I can go anywhere with this. I can do music, movies, games, programmers, artists, YouTubers, anyone. It's great.
Yeah, no, and which is cool because like many of us I think can relate to that, just like being people who dabble in all these different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like might specialize in one of them, but I don't know, from my opinion it's more, or from my perspective it's like, there's something to like pass time and make you feel like you're achieving something. There was I was watching Solar Opposites and they did a dig on Hobbyist, which was right on the dot. I don't know if you've seen that show yet, but
I don't know if I'm Justin Roiland's biggest fan, but I mean I liked Rick and Morty the first 3 seasons. I might like Solar Opposites.
Well, the way I would describe it is it's sort of like I don't know, I guess with Rick and Morty they kind of went with going with this continuity thing and trying to like establish like trying to like evolve the characters, evolve everything, and like I guess Solar Opposites is almost like it almost looks like a catharsis, like I would kind of imagine it like their catharsis, just being able to go back to just making really silly fun ideas and just seeing what they can string together. But at any rate, I think the particular comment was there's the episode where he's trying to learn how to chill out and not be so work centric, and he's asking his AI computer thing. He's like, computer, what can I do to be doing absolutely nothing and yet feel like I'm accomplishing something? And it's like, hobby. And I guess with like content, I guess the way it's kind of like to me as like at this point, I think I think everybody's more optimistic when they're younger about like how far they're gonna make some money or they're gonna get some accolades and kind of be like the next big thing online or whatever,
right?
Or at least enough to like sustain themselves. But I think you kind of get towards the end of your 20s and you're kind of like I think a lot of people either shelve their kind of creative hobby, or they just kind of like learn to just do it as a hobby, just kind of look at it as one.
I think that's the healthiest outlook you can have is content creation should be a hobby, not a job, because most people, it's like sports, not everyone makes it like in the big leagues, and content creation should be treated as something that you can fail and it'll be okay, like playing guitar or trying to play the drums, which I cannot do.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, I agree.
So who are you, and what are you doing on my show?
What am I doing here? Okay, I'm just kind of I got the invite. We were talking about we're thinking about talking about music related stuff.
And then who are you? What's your profile? What should I call you?
Anjovi's good.
It's nice to formally meet, but Anjovi's probably best if you want to stick with kind of anonymity. Oh, words.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's I'm not too stressed about it either way. I'm not really like paranoid that someone's gonna like, kind of like research me and like come up to my workplace and start like slathering slander on me.
Hey, who knows? One day you might
Like,
make a really big hit song that everyone loves, and then you'll be stalked by a million people.
yeah, I think my biggest nightmare would be Nardwar. Oh my god. I'm just imagining that guy. He'd just fucking murder me if you were just like thinking in terms of incriminating. I don't know, like not
Embarrassing.
what is it, like benevolent incrimination? It's like, all right, say you said this, but I found this shit on the web that you said when you were 15.
Good old Nardwar.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, he's funny. It's funny that I'm actually ended up in the same city that he's based.
Really?
Like, I'm from up north, but I'm moved to Vancouver for a bit. And I guess that's where his stomping grounds are.
You might run into him getting coffee one day.
Yeah, he'll be like in his normal uniform. Just be like,
You immediately assumed he was the barista, is that it? Or are you talking about his civilian clothes?
oh yeah, civilian clothes. Yeah. Sorry, I think suit. I think when people think suit, they think the thing they disguise in.
All I can imagine now is Nardwar in like a green apron serving you coffee and be like, all right, so you ordered a double venti, but in the past you've ordered a Americano. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. I think that's
But yeah. Today's episode is the general blanket of independent music creation, and in this case, what would you call yourself? Like not a DJ, but like a producer?
I don't know. I'd probably put myself as a rando who makes music. I don't know. Like I haven't done much in the way of like getting any reach at all.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, it would be. But with that said, it would probably be like kind of like hobbyist producer / rapper.
Are you enjoying it?
Oh, I sure am. Like I've been actually had a pretty big hiatus. Like I think it was like 6 years since I did anything.
God damn.
Really, like I think I put like a random song out. Like I just kind of like had the inspiration and made like some goofy rap, and then I don't know. Recently, I think I kind of got a click in the head because I was listening to where it started was I learned about Koala Sampler. Yeah, it's just the thing you can get on your iPad or phone, and it turns it into like a fully capable beat making machine.
Really?
You can record samples on it, and yeah. The analog I would compare it to is the SP. Yeah, especially if you buy like a few little, like, yeah, you could buy like a little cheap preamp to you could plug it into headphone jacks of certain like computers, and yeah, you could just like record samples straight from it, kind of like you would with a vinyl.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So like, I was doing that, and then like some guys were like, they had like there's like a community around it. So there's a fellow named Remy. He has what's called the Koala Beatcast, and he's just like, yeah, he's kind of culminating a little community of folks who kind of hang out every Friday and share each other's flips. Yeah, I had a friend who used to Kill Bill's Snow Globe Theory.
Oh, the new album that just came out not too long ago. I enjoyed that album, but I mean, I've only listened to it once. I need to listen to it again.
Yeah, I think like for me, I think what kind of hooked me was the initial song, because it just had like there's just like a really imaginative like boom bap kind of thing where they kind of I really dug the contrast between the verse and the chorus, and then like of course the following tracks, you kind of had like those hop kind of lo-fi hip hop staples that I kind of gravitate to. So, and then just kind of how we composed the whole thing, like with the samples, and like of course it's been done before, like every it's kind of like what boilerplate for like a concept album, but at the same time it was just I just fucking really loved it, and kind of kind of got me in my head. I'm like, oh, I had these ideas, and so it was starting to bubble there, and then I started listening to other guys like a recent guy I came across was called Ka. He's a dude from Brownsville and kind of like a vet. Like he was kind of one of those dudes that he kind of had to go back to work, so to speak, and I think he became like a firefighter, and he started making music on the side, like, and yeah, I don't know. So it was just like an old fellow. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say like how old. I don't think he's that old, but just someone like, yeah, past like your typical like 20-year-old, 30-year-old, or whatever, that range. And yeah, he was just making beautiful fucking music. Like his pen game was just yeah, it was just fantastic. And yeah, he was doing concepts too, like he was tying everything together. And yeah, I hadn't really looked at music like that before. Like before, I was just kind of putting out, I was trying to treat my individual songs as like kind of like pieces,
Right.
I would eventually come up with enough songs and I'll just kind of throw it online as like a mixtape. But yeah, just the idea of like trying to string all these things together into like one bigger piece. But yeah, no, something about that really appealed to me, because yeah, that's where I've been kind of deriving the most fun out of it.
Right. A lot of fun from just kind of playing around with it. I'd say as far as inspirations go, I'd say for me it was mostly just Rav, because he just pumps out music like nobody's fucking business. He's so prolific at it.
I definitely dig his stuff too. Like I was, I've been kind of branching more into it, just trying to like, I've been kind of listening as research, and yeah, it's been really enjoyable. Like I've, and I'm talking like I'm really formal and like going into like business and stuff, but like, no, I don't know. Like just kind of absorbed it, and I really dig his stuff too. Like it's very, he's very consistent with like the catchiness of his music, but he also gives you stuff to chew on.
Oh yeah.
Which I like. Like what drives me nuts is like rappers who, they're just, they just kind of do their job, and it's like, it's very like inoffensive, very neutral. Like they, it's kind of like, I don't know, just like, it doesn't leave you, leave you with an impression.
Right.
Other than they just kind of like, they did it. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about, where people just kind of just do their job and leave.
Yeah, no, I feel you could definitely feel it when people put like their love into something, like they kind of put a part of themselves into it. And I guess like another thing I like about those guys is they kind of it feels like very, I could totally imagine it being very intentional, but like fostering that kind of click vibe, like when you get them all together.
I'd say for Rav, what really impressed me was like he has like I think 3 albums where it's like all of his stuff where he was like, yeah, this is good enough that I want to put this out. This is me. This is kind of my brand. But then he also has like 10 mixtapes, and they're all great. I loved them. Everyone loves what is it? It's B-Sides and Rarities is the name of all his mixtapes. And number 3 was everyone's favorite because it had like 20 really good songs. And that got me thinking like, oh shit, well, what if I tried this? What if I tried to lay down something?
Yeah, no, and that's like the best thing I think anyone like him could do is just like inspire people.
Right.
I think like, because I don't know, I think like, I think it's relatable, like thinking in terms of like, why it comes back to like, why do you even do it? You're like, you think when I was young or a kid, I listening to this certain musician or artist, he helped me get through a lot of stuff. He kind of, and I want to make people feel like they made me feel. And yeah, I think just like inspiring other people to be creative, I think that's almost like the pinnacle of like a successful artist. I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of pulling shit out of my ass, maybe. But,
I don't know.
Sounds right. Feels right.
You shouldn't go into making music for money, because I hate to spoil this for you, but not a lot of musicians are extremely wealthy people. It's a select few, definitely, that it's just like they got lucky, or they knew how to play the game perfectly, or they were just really good at it. And the rest of us are just kind of like, we're doing it for fun. We're doing it for our friends, for the community, just trying to get our names out there and for fun. And I think it's better if you're doing it for fun.
For me, is connecting with other people. Like when you say getting your name out there, it's like very synonymous with like making, meaningful connections with people that are, I guess just like, if you were a gamer, you'd probably look to meet with other people. You'd have that same interest, and you'd build relationships and connections off of that. Yeah, I don't know.
As far as making music goes, like, for me, the biggest struggle was always like coming up with lyrics, which is sad because that's 100% my job. Well, my hobby job.
But I've never been able to write super fast, like which I think is kind of fine for me. Like, it just kind of makes it more rewarding when I do finish it.
What kind of musicians besides Kill Bill do you take inspiration from?
Anything from like you have Ka, like I like Sean Price. Kendrick Lamar's been a big one lately.
Right.
Like, I have to admit, he's kind of more like research for me, just because like he's interesting because I have this weird association, like, but it sounds perfectly like apt when I think of it. Like I look at him as like the Madonna of hip hop.
The Madonna of hip hop?
Yeah, it's really weird, but like I had a pal who was kind of trying to get me hip to like all these different like types of genres of music and like how they mix things particularly, just so I could like apply it to mine, kind of like absorb it. And one of them was like one of Madonna's more experimental albums. Yeah, just like this kind of really chill, kind of wanky, kind of jazz thing. And like, but it was just like listening to Pimp a Butterfly, or I guess his even newer one, like, they kind of have like these very abstract kind of stream of consciousness kind of feels to them, and like very experimental. And in my mind, he's kind of like a benchmark in some ways, like just with like how much artistic risk and obviously how like intricately like composed like everything is on those albums. But like it just it made me think of like Madonna for some reason. No, it's hard to say because like I listen to a bunch of stuff. Those are the only ones, like if you put a gun to my head and like produce answers right now, like it's all I could really think of that's been like really tangibly like inspiring to me.
I think Kendrick Lamar, I've only ever heard most of his singles and a few songs off here and there. I think the thing he does best is he's got a great flow. He's very good at enunciating words, and at the same time being very quick. It's very impressive as it is. And for a while he had a ghostwriter, which I'm not going to shame. It's okay if you need a little creative help, but he had the skills to pay the bills and still does.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if you'd get a kick out of trying one of his albums, just like trying to experience it front to back, because I think that's where he shines.
Right.
Like, he definitely has a lot of nice characteristics, but I think his biggest contributions have been like in the form of like reminding us like what an album is, like, or maybe even setting new boundaries for what they are. But like, definitely I would recommend To Pimp a Butterfly, just because like it's probably the more accessible one, but has like a kind of gets you immersed in his brain a bit, just kind of. It's interesting to think. It's funny because I never really experienced them as just like singles through singles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But totally makes sense. Yeah.
I heard King Kunta, and I think that was after Humble. I heard King Kunta chronologically after it, and I thought, wow, he's damn good. I should listen to more, and then I just never did. Someday I will, though.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff. It's funny because I had King Kunta in my mind. I guess it's a reference to the Roots. Like, he's like a particular slave that was trying to get away, and of course the Queen died recently. So like, I had this weird. You probably don't know if you want this on your podcast, but like, I don't know, in my brain, it was just kind of like a little quip. I'm like, there's King Kunta and there's Queen. That's the way I would kind of like. I just had this perfect dichotomy.
Oh, that's amazing. I wonder why would anyone wish death upon the queen? I suppose the queen is to the rest of the world what Margaret Thatcher was to English people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't born rich. I'm from a very not so well off family, so I've had to work for my money.
Yeah, and just all the other crap too, like like a lot of discourse in Canada is around First Nation stuff, and like just thinking of all the residential schools and all of the things that she had a pretty good hand in. I mean, that's that stuff hits home more for me, but like for and then you have all of the what do you have, those memes with the talking about all the good memes.
It's very easy to dogpile on the queen right now, so now's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that whole thing with what was it when that celebrity did that Beatles song?
Which one?
And they're all on Zoom. Forget what it's called. It was
Imagine? Or is that the
yeah,
one?
yeah, that
Where all
that
the
one,
celebrities
that whole
sing
thing.
Zoom?
Yeah, and it was like a whole. It was just like a big display of irony because all of these celebrities were well off, and they're like, yeah, you guys could do it too. We're all gonna be awesome together.
I hate to be that guy, the contrarian, but John Lennon sang that from his fucking mansion.
No, that's so. Yeah, maybe they're not really that far off. And, oh yeah, no, that was right. Yeah, the music video is just like this. Yeah, beautiful mansion.
Maybe he was going for the irony angle. Maybe he knew he was in on it.
Could've. Oh yeah, I guess you never know where his thing came from, where he came from, anyways. Yeah, you never know. Yeah, no, it's still kind of funny to chew on.
I still, we're 30 minutes in. I still haven't gotten used to your voice. It's like it'd be like if I walked into my work and my boss just suddenly started talking in an Irish accent.
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, what? But wait a minute.
I've always been very gaslighted about my voice. I never really know how it sounds. Like even like when I rap, I don't know how people perceive my voice.
Yeah.
Like I remember sometimes it would bleed into my work because like I was working at Inido, Japan, and when I'm like, yeah, you want teriyaki sauce and stuff like that, do you want this? And they're like, people come up with the weirdest ideas of where I'm from. It's like, someone asked me if I'm from New York. Somebody asked if I was like from Romania. A lot of range of things, like it's kind of more of a res accent, so like and then like native folks, they'll come up and because I don't fully present as Native American, so like they'll be like, where are you from, so it's always a funny, the voice thing has always been really interesting for me, like I don't know, just kind of a fun little thing.
For me, I couldn't even put a pin on where it was from, but I assumed it was the States for some reason. I was like, it's probably from Florida or the South, or maybe he's out west or northwest, like Oregon or Washington, maybe.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, it's just like, totally understandable, because, it probably isn't even a real accent, It's probably just some weird fucking thing I made up. I don't know.
I've always heard that with artists who sing, who rap, who do music, they always kind of have to find their voice, so to say, and it's a process I'm even still doing. I'm not even sure what I'm doing, but how did you come up with that as your voice for your persona?
I don't know. It just comes out the easiest when I first started, like when I was I think I was 14 and I was like trying to rap then, like that's kind of how my voice came out. And I always hated it because it sounded like in my brain it just sounded like really typical or boring, or I just sounded like a kid or something. And I started doing this weird shit with my voice where I try to like sound like fucking, like Rakim and like, because they got like those real deep, smooth, velvety voices. So I was like, I was kind of like putting my voice down an octave. And for one guy, he's like, yeah, man, stop you gotta quit putting that fucking distortion on your voice. Like, and he's like, ... He's like, holy fuck, that's that's your actual voice. It's just like in horror. Like, yeah, no, I definitely had a lot of awkward years with like in terms of like rapping, just because it was always like throwing kind of stuff at the wall. Like, yeah, to be honest, like I didn't even learn music theory until like in my early 20s, and holy shit, did I come up realize like the errors in my ways. Like, yeah, like I don't know, a weird thing was just in terms of like finding anything in regards to music with myself was like, even like music, like when you think of like a key to a song, like you'll have people playing like they'll sing a song in the key of C or in the key of F or something. Like they'll do this thing, and I literally thought all of these keys were like totally different scales. Like I totally had like all of that stuff conflated in my head. And like even when I was first making music and trying to mimic songs by ear, like I would play the same melodies or whatever, but they would be in different keys, but I didn't know what keys were. So I thought like I thought I was playing like this song, but in the right key, because you had the do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Yeah.
Like you kind of memorize that, and then yeah, I'm like, but yeah, this sounds off. I don't know why it's off. And I'm like playing a song like from the key of C in like the key of F or something. I don't know. I have a feeling this might sound like a bunch of gobbledygook.
No, I know. I know some music theory too. I learned guitar at the very basic level. I learned guitar when I was, I want to say I was 16 when I finally got the hang of it. And I had a great teacher. He was an awesome dude. And he taught me all about scales and keys and all that. And it was great. But it is kind of weird to put that like from a guitar scale to like a vocal scale. We had music when I was in elementary school where we were a choir and we had to do scales, but we didn't really get it. Like we didn't understand. We just did what we were told and tried to parrot the teacher.
Yeah, it's always a trick with stuff like that. Like I feel like, yeah, people who have like informal introductions to music, I think always have that leg up because they get it kind of taught to them in layman terms.
Right.
Yeah, it's like or you'll just get a demonstration, and yeah, you'll just know. Like, yeah, I think when I took a big leap and bound was when I finally learned what scales are, and I kind of practiced on like a keyboard, how to run through all of them and just like memorize them.
Right.
Because after I did that, I could kind of see the shapes of all the scales. Like if I played all the major the major in all of the keys, I could kind of see how it flows, like the little shape it forms up and down the piano octave. And yeah, it's kind of like, but definitely upped my game, especially like as I was like learning to sample, or I was kind of putting samples together, like learning how to layer them that was kind of like a big light bulb moment for me. It was, and then when you get more into it, you realize that like there's like major keys and there's minor keys, and some of the major and minor keys overlap with each other, and then like you kind of figure out there's dissonance, like, and that you realize like oh yeah, that's what all those blues players are doing. They're playing that flat fifth, and that's like a blue note. And
yeah, and it works best in blues songs because it sounds just a little bit off, but it still sounds good.
Yeah, no, yeah, like especially when they drone with like they'll play like that C chord, like dun, 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 like, but then they'll have that they'll slip the minor third in every once in a while, so it's kind of like a hybrid of the two. So you're kind of floating on this kind of like dissonant vibe.
I think
Yeah.
music is usually about half book learning and half soul, putting just emotion into your music.
Yeah, even if it isn't book learning, because a lot of guys they just pick it up like they just learn their whole entire system of music theory. And yeah, it's like all those jazz musicians that don't know like how to read sheet music, for instance. I guess you could say they book learn to the extent that they know like they know how to play different keys and stuff like that.
The rest is probably just them kind of vibing and finding out by ear what sounds good and what doesn't.
Yeah.
For me, that's kind of what it was. Like, once I learned how to play the basic 7 chords and then all the modified shit, from there it was mostly just, here's how to play a scale, here's how to play a modified scale, and here's how to freestyle while still sounding good on a guitar. And it really is just memorizing where you can put your fingers.
Yeah, just like a language. Like if you're going into another country and you wanted to communicate with people, like if you knew at least the basic language, you'd fare a lot better than someone who doesn't know anything.
I think a lot of it can boil down to just like, you can learn by books, but it's okay to learn just by ear as well. I think for me, it's a combination of the two is what works best for me, because focusing too much on scales and how you're doing something will kind of make you sound more robotic, but being too freestyle will just make you sound kind of crazy and maybe not good. I think the only one who can pull that off is Hobo Johnson.
Yeah, I feel like all the theory and stuff is kind of meant to just melt in the background.
Right.
Like you kind of have enough to anchor on, but like I feel like it should never be any more than like an anchor, or like just a frame of reference more than anything.
It is good to have, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I feel like I would always suggest anyone just to take like a 101 like tutorial series on YouTube or something, just to, I mean, even when you understand like what major and minor keys are, and like the kind of like what dissonance is, I feel like you pretty much have you're pretty much equipped with everything you need to like make any kind of contemporary music.
Yeah, and then once
like,
you have
at least any pop music,
once you have your foundation, then you can go off the book and you can do whatever you want, and you can understand why something might work when it's done like a little bit off key, why you might want to use a diminished chord, for example. In like a horror movie, the diminished chord will sound kind of spooky and scary. And
fucking jazz though, the diminished chords are like the bread and butter. All of those I don't know, just like those and blues and jazz, like all those, I guess they wouldn't be like typical diminished chords, because they'd probably be like constructed with like all those like the ninths and like the 12s and the 7s, and you'd have like everything in it. But I feel like I don't think I would ever be able to make something without dissonant chords. I don't think I'd be able to make it sound good, like, or interesting enough to. At least they're almost like a crutch almost. But they definitely make your music feel more mysterious too when you need it.
Of course. How much does music theory go into percussion? Like beats?
To be honest, man, I've never. I don't think I applied it so much. I think with like percussion, for me, it's always been like just what feels right. Because I guess I'm just setting up patterns in FL Studio, so like, I could just kind of like tune a pattern until it feels good to me. Like I remember, like, I think a drummer would probably be totally fucking infuriated by like me generalizing it, because I think there was at least one fellow I knew. He was like you should, he was starting to telling me I should learn music theory, because I was doing. Although I think in that case, he was listening to me do like a finger drumming video, and I never really have like perfect professional grade drumming on those ones. Are they're always really sloppy. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just whatever works for you. I don't know.
As far as music goes, do you have any favorite songs you've made yet?
In terms of favorites, it probably, I think the one that comes to my mind is, it's a tough one. I think it's in between, probably between Diamond Girl, Melancholy Forests. Yeah, just anything that was some of the stuff on Terrarium more than anything. I think those are the ones I'm more proud of. The thing is with a lot of that stuff, a lot of the music the thing with a lot of the music on that album and the one I'm working on is I'm kind of just, I'm really just recycling a lot of the music I did over the past 10 years. And just try and get, because there's ideas, there's some lyrics even that I was just really fond of, and I just wanted to kind of try to just kind of revamp them and kind of build upon them.
Do you feel guilty doing that, recycling lyrics from old projects?
Oh, not at all. I don't know, the way I always kind of looked at it is it's more for me, it's the end product more than anything. I guess the nice thing with being obscure is nobody really gives a shit if I recycle my stuff, because it's kind of it's kind of new to them anyways.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather record something better than just kind of pop a link up to something I recorded when I was, 10 years ago or something.
That's kind of the thought I had when I was making, well, I still am, but while I was making the trilogy EP, I was like, well, look, I may not be perfect now, but I can always just re-record these later when I'm better.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way to go about it, because you actually get stuff done.
Oh yeah.
You get to look at it, you get to assess it, see what other people think, and I guess definitely something, because because if it's really good, it'll come back anyways. It's kind of a weird analogy, but I got addicted to board gaming as well. So there's all these board games out there, and the way they kind of get distributed is it's really finite and limited.
Yeah. So
if somebody comes out with a real banger, there's no guarantee it'll be in print. And there's kind of they have this sort of law that the real classics or the real good ones will stand the test of time, and they'll get brought out again later, and they'll have a second edition or something. Or I don't know, I kind of liken music to that as well, because I mean people already do it in the form of remixes. That's kind of I think that's a way people like to reinvigorate their stuff,
right?
They make a remix, and I don't know, it's probably different once you have it out in the world and it's really established, I guess. I don't know, I'd probably think twice about retreading ground anyways.
Right.
Because it would be you wouldn't be giving people anything new.
I think context is also pretty important when it comes to these songs. But when it comes to context, it can change lyrics pretty drastically. Rav does it a lot, where in his B-sides and rarities, he'll have just these little thoughts. The demos are just ideas he had for songs that he just jotted down but didn't think were good enough for a full album. But then he workshops some of these songs, some of these ideas into new kind of context with newer songs, and then he's like, oh, I like this a lot more. This deserves to be in an album.
From what I understand, what people generally do is they'll make a shit ton of music. They'll make they could probably make anywhere from 20 to 30, 40 songs or something.
Yeah.
And then they'll cherry pick 14 out of them. Yeah, and then because you can always use those extra songs as B-sides or kind of stuff to throw out as singles. And if you're going, especially if you're going down that whole content creator kind of avenue where you're trying to like build a base or satisfy them or whatever with regular content. And
I'm super jealous of the people that are prolific, like Rav. He's insane. But when I was doing my trilogy EP, my first two, I was like, well, it'd be nice to have some features, try and get other people's perspectives. Maybe they can help teach me some stuff. And I got this guy, HeyOPC, otherwise known as Chris Pichet, and he has made 240 songs in a year, he said. Beats, ideas he had for beats, where he's just like, all right, there you go, it's down, done. And then he just drops them. And then he says,
oh yeah,
people come to him, they're like, hey, I need a beat. And he's just like, well, good news for you. I've got like 200 to choose from. Go ahead.
yeah, especially if you're wanting to just wanting to get yourself out there, because a lot of people share like their works in progresses with others too. Like, you know, some people they'll even have like hits, like hit material that they'll just kind of sit on, and they might even give it to like one of the dudes in their group or something to, you know, kind of boost their career. And yeah, it's almost like little commodities or that you can share.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Yeah.
That's part of making the EPs was I was not confident in making beats, so I outsourced everything. And so for me, it was relying a lot on other people's like help and other people kind of being really cool with me using their music.
Yeah, no, that's always how it has to be. Like, I think especially when you're starting, like, I think the best way is, just getting folks' consent to use their beats, and like, kind of been in a couple contexts. Like, when I first started, I think I was doing everything on my own, like with little beats I was making. You know, they're really crappy beats, but it kind of got me started. But then I kind of got a little more ambitious. I'm like, okay, I'm going to reach out to this dude on the forum, and I'll get super stoked when they're like, they're kind of like, oh yeah, here's a beat or something like, and then I guess it ups your motivation to like do as bang on a job as you can too, because you want to like do it justice. But then like, I've also had times where I've just used other people, like just people I didn't know, I couldn't get in contact with them, whatever, and then I would just kind of use their beat. And funnily enough though, I think what generally happened was especially when I started doing stuff on Newgrounds, was I would just take beats and then I would make stuff for them.
Right.
And then I would kind of I'd kind of like present it to like the beat maker. I'd be like, like, yeah, I did this thing with it. Yeah, let me know what you think, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then I figured like if I didn't get the green light, I would just, I could always just shelve it for like another beat if I came across it. But yeah, I've definitely come across people who are real, like they were just choked. It was just like, just kind of leaves you that icky feeling like you're, So it was definitely, I had a lot of good reception with it on Newgrounds, because I think folks were just excited to have people rap on their stuff.
Exactly. I mean, Newgrounds, the project system is great because even if you can't get in touch with people, you can still link the original song in like the project system on the left, and it'll be like, oh, this is the song used. They can view the original, and then boom, they get a little traffic.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's like one of the key things of Newgrounds, is you're sort of putting it out there to be used.
That's also great because it displays in the bottom left of every page on the audio portal whether or not a song, what creative license it is, and whether or not you can just use it freely without asking. But I always ask. I mean, I always feel bad if, like, I just showed up one day and it's like, look at my song.
Yeah, for the most part, I would get I would get encouragement. I think I only had one really sour one, but then I'd have like some that were, just kind of like, didn't respond to you, like you just weren't Yeah, they just didn't want to talk to you. So
I've met a lot of interesting people on Newgrounds, and I'm glad to have talked with them and have them let me use their music and feature with me. That's how we met. I asked if I could use your song, and you're like, yeah. And then I'm like, here's the rough. What do you think? And you're like, do you want me to mix it?
oh yeah, no, that's so. The funny thing with that is I wasn't quite into the engineering train. I think I used my preset on that one.
That's okay.
I kind of had this cool edit preset that I always used, like is a dynamic processor. I still don't even know what that means. But I threw it on it and it sounded a lot better. Mind you, it had like a bunch of, I didn't DS it at all, so I never knew about DSing for a lot of years. That's the funny thing is I never got into the actual mixing part of it.
Yeah,
which
it's a
sucks
lot.
because mixing is actually pretty goddamn interesting. Like, because it's just part of like the soundscaping.
Yeah.
And it could be this really fun thing to do. But I think it's easy to just treat it as like the boring nerdy shit. Like I just want to I want to make all the cool chords and music and notes and blah blah blah. And I think that was one of the key things too with like that would be I would call back to Bill's album, because mixing was part of what made it so interesting to me. Because you could just tell like he just put so much thought into how he mixed certain things, like where his voice comes in, how his ad-libs work, and it was always pretty varied throughout the whole project.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I guess it was kind of interesting to tackle it, because I think we're about like the same age range. I'm kind of like probably I'm kind of someone who didn't really do anything or didn't have the drive to do much with music. So like I kind of took it as like a challenge to kind of like see if I can make something that kind of approximated that, like, oh, I should be able to do something like that, and try to like just like do as best as I could to just as like a little fun challenge. Yeah,
I think the EXO crew are pretty great, and I hope they've inspired a lot of people. The thing about mixing for me was always like, I just don't have the ear for it yet. But when I was in orchestra, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I learned eventually, after about a year, I learned how to tune a cello by ear. And I think that's kind of it. It's just going to be, at some point I'm going to cross the barrier, and I'm just going to be able to do this by ear with ease.
Yeah, I think that point you might hit like a paradigm shift, like at the point when you start getting sick of hearing your stuff. Like you'll be like, oh, okay, I have to do it. Like mind you, I don't know. I think that's always where you start to like get better is when you start to get bored of what you're currently doing.
I get what you mean. I don't know. For me, I don't want to get stuck in the trap where everything has to be perfect and then I never release anything. Because I have a friend like that, and they've been talking for 5 years about releasing an album, and it's just like, come on, just finish it. If it's not perfect, you can redo it when you're, I don't know, in your 50s.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a thing. Like, especially if you aren't like in the circuit per se, where you're like trying to establish your brand and everything. I don't know anything about it.
My advice to pretty much everyone is, do not strive for absolute perfection. Just do the best you can with what you have right now. And then if the time comes where you can do it better, then try it again later.
Yeah, no, I could definitely relate to that sentiment. Yeah, especially that's particularly what I've been doing. So yeah, I think that I would be in agreement with that.
I think Terrarium was great. I enjoyed it. I really liked Blossom's Blossom. I still throw that on from time to time when I'm just working, when I'm just like, it's in my playlist. And it's really good. When you made the album, what was your mindset? Like, what was going through your mind?
I was thinking about this earlier today. It was kind of funny was I kind of had to like trick myself, like kind of do some like metaphysical trickery on myself. Like, for instance, like when I made it, wanted to create like a narrative, like kind of like that kind of touched upon like social isolation, like neuroticism, like just like being grumpy ass loners that kind of gets in their own way.
Right.
Kind of like, yeah, I wanted to kind of like explore that and try to like, I wanted to see if I can make this project and come out at the end of the tunnel, like, you know, per to say, like, just to kind of like, funniest thing with that one is because I guess towards the earlier part of the album, it's like more bleak, and then it kind of gets a little more like, it gets a little more hopeful toward optimistic towards the end, and bottle exactly what would have like made that thing. And yeah, essentially, yeah, I don't know, I guess it's kind of based around that concept of like being in a terrarium, you know, like you have like, you know, you kind of have like your heart in like this, you know, you have like your heart in like this pretty fragile container, like you know, because as someone who's like really neurotic and like very, probably put it as being a sensitive person. Like you just tend to explode, and you know, like when people, yeah, like when people get confrontational with me, I just like fly off the handle. But like at the same time, you like, you know, you get to a point where you're too old to be fighting. You know, it's, you know, you just remember how you just think in terms of how childish that is, and how you kind of, and then when you start thinking in terms of I guess in terms of like the metaphysical part, there's like this part where I wanted to kind of explore what happens when it shatters, and like what the outcome of that is, and like what so it kind of got more into like legacy stuff, like what kind of legacy you're leaving behind. And yeah, I think Blossom's Blossom was almost kind of like that capstone to it. It's kind of like this very kind of quasi-spiritual thing, like when I originally wrote it, I kind of like imagined like the flower of life, and you know, just all of those, like just kind of like that holistic spiritualism. Yeah, it's kind of like a blossom upon a blossom.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
It's always nice kind of hearing an artist explain kind of the inspirations for their art.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I think I derive just as much pleasure from hearing about their thought processes as I do like the actual projects. Like, yeah, when you hear people talking like, you know, podcast form or like in interviews, and yeah, kind of hearing what makes them tick. Yeah, I always enjoyed that almost just as much.
For me, I'm still trying to find my inspirations. Like, all my songs are all over the place. But I think I'm starting to hit that stride where I just wrote my first song where I thought, oh, hey, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of just the way it goes. Like you, you start just you're kind of building up the vocabulary and little foundational tools, and then like, eventually you get bored of that and you want to start making stuff that actually communicates stuff that you feel, and you want to be able to use it as like a tool to express yourself. And and then you sort of pull stuff out like
but at the same time, I also don't want to lose touch with the silly side either. Striking that balance.
Oh no, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Because that's part of it. Yeah, you know, that's just expressing who you are, right?
Oh yeah.
But you just do it, you just get to a point where you feel more comfortable doing it, I think. And yeah, so your funnier songs will just they'll have like just a bit more like nuance in them. They might have just a bit more thoughtfulness in them, and I think that just gets more, you know, it just gets more natural over time.
I'm trying to remember. I think I started workshopping my first song with Liam's beats. This Is Love. I started in like early March, I believe. And I thought to myself, okay, if I suck, that's okay. People will probably tell me I suck, and then I'll just try better next time. But then as I started to go on, it just got easier to write. And then from there, it was like, oh, well, I can say things a bit more complexly than just like stating them outright. And that's kind of how I got to where I am right now when it comes to penning a song, a rap.
Yeah, then you might go through your awkward, like, lyrical miracle phase. That seems to be a common one. Yeah, no, I definitely went through that myself.
You went through it too?
Yeah, especially when I was first starting, like, because it was just like, yeah, I could fit multiple syllables together. Multiple syllable, I'm unkillable. Yeah. A hole that's unfillable, lyrical miracle. Yeah, shit like that. And yeah, it's just kind of, yeah, no, I've been kind of getting a kick out of, like, I saw some stuff on Needle Drop and Anthony Fantano, and he's talking to a fellow about, like, lyrical miracle rappers, and I guess what are called incel rappers. It's kind of like there's kind of like these two different they're like two different genres, like, like the incel, it's kind of like the edgelord, angry, yelly, growly rapper, and then the lyrical miracle. Yeah.
What's a lyrical miracle?
Yeah. Like one of the bigger tropes. Fuck, I can't even think of any names, but like it's kind of like those people that are like on a high horse. Like, yeah, lyrical miracle. Why aren't you? It's like they bitch about like mainstream rap, and they're like, yeah, the rhymes are so simple and lame. Why does anybody listen to my stuff? It's so much better. And it's kind of like one of the bigger cliches of it is. Oh no, one of them is the anti-bubblegum rap thing.
Anti-bubblegum
rap? Where everyone was... Yeah, well, I guess what happened was Eminem made like a song, it's like an anthem against bubblegum rap, and like all of these, everybody else's, you had like just bevies of people making like, yeah, fuck you, fucking bubblegum rappers, you don't know how to pronounce these words. And, it's just kind of like, and it's just like, it almost like becomes their identity of like, just hating on people who couldn't give a fuck less about them.
It's true. Yeah. These people they're making money. They don't care about what someone on the internet has to say, really.
Yeah, I guess the funniest part too is like there's just so much more nuance to like the culture than that. Like even if you definitely recommend like watching like a hip-hop documentary or two, because there's so much interesting nuance,
right?
Especially when it comes to like party rap and like yeah, and just like the bling rap, or you think about all of these staples that people whine about, and it's kind of interesting when you peel back the nuance. Like, yeah, I don't know, it's just so much more than like I don't know, and it just makes you feel more. It just makes you look more shallow when you fixate on like very superficial things.
Right.
I don't know. I can't really explain the ins and outs of it right now, but. I don't think I could do it justice.
I think a great example might be everyone hating on T-Pain for a while there. If you remember that, it was like T-Pain got a lot of hate for just using auto-tune a lot, and that was it. And then people were like, oh, you don't really have talent, you're just this. And then they're like, oh, you only rap about like expensive things and partying. And it's like, I've heard him play live without the auto-tune, where he did the "What's Your Name" live just with his singing voice. It was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I couldn't understand why we hated T-Pain at that moment. I was like, I used to hate him, but now it's like, well, he's just an artist. He's just doing what he wants to do, and all that kind of persona of the partying and then getting drunk and getting drinking a lot and partying. It's all a persona. It's not really who this person is.
Yeah, I don't know. And for some people, like partying is all they have, like it's like their only outlet, to, deal with what would otherwise be a really fucked up life.
Yeah.
Getting thrown through the ringer. But like, I think when I think about it, I think it's more of like the trends that people hate. Like people just resent that person for starting a trend, because it might not even be of their intent, but like, of course, nobody intends to do something really successful and just have it like cloned and copycatted. I don't know. Can't think of a better analogy for it, but I definitely blame the people who kind of hop on the trend, like, and just wear it the fuck out.
Yeah.
More than the actual or the original person.
That's another thing about kind of independent music as a whole. It's become a lot more saturated than it used to be. Like, you look at the 90s and it's like not everyone could record at all. And now in 2022, I have a consumer grade microphone that I bought for $10. It's a PA mic, a used PA mic, and The fact that the barrier for entry was $10 and then an interface, which 100 something bucks, but that's pretty low compared to like having to build a studio or rent a studio to lay down a track. So now everyone can just do whatever they feel like doing and record it.
Oh shoot, I might have to head her out pretty soon.
Anything else you wanted to talk about real quick before we end it?
I honestly cannot think of anything.
Can you do the Anjovi voice just so I have a record of it?
Okay, let me see if I can morph it. I might even have to pull up lyrics in front of my face to... Yeah, it'd be like Mr. Anjovi. Yeah, I would kind of talk like this. Although that's, I mean, I guess that's more of like the juvenile kind of Anjovi. Yeah, I could rap like this, but then I would kind of put a little more bass and like more, it'd kind of be a little bit more intense. No, I don't know. It doesn't sound natural coming. Yeah,
that sounded Anjovi-y.
Oh, okay. It sounded Anjovi-esque. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's a good line. I love this fucking line. Fuck what you heard. Fuck what you said. The stuff that you did ain't worth the stuff that you shit. I don't know. It might be my favorite line.
That's great.
Yeah, I very much like it. It's kind of like it's kind of like a little more deeper than it might first seem. I like it because it's kind of like, I don't know, I don't always make lines like this, so I can brag about this one just because. Yeah, no, those are always my favorite lines where you're able to pack something, a lot of meaning into something, because like, you know, you think about anybody that exists on this planet, you know, like I don't know if there was like I don't know if there's like a statistic about, I forget what it was, like where like they talk about like how much like shit or waste people produce, and it's like, you know, you kind of picture like a football field, you know, if you just like took all of the shit somebody made and like you kind of try to compare that to like all their aspirations, and I want to be like a herald that everybody, you know, I want to be like this productive person in the world. And yeah, just, I don't know, I always thought thinking in terms of like how much waste we produce and like trying to justify our existence has always been kind of a funny frame of reference. I think that's good. That's a good note to end on.
All right, so
Yeah, it was fun.
Gonna hit stop.